Hello students. Today we are going to study about writing lesson number 1 for standard 8th. Activity 1. Read the story Strong Desire, Wise Action from The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain, part 1. Children, basically this story is about a small boy who is living with his aunt. Tom is like naughty like any other boy. And one day his auntie orders him to paint the fence, and he was really upset with this thing because he found that the wall was too huge for him to color it, to paint it. And when he was seeing that the other boys are enjoying and he has to work, he was very desperate about the thing. And how he take a wise action, children, how nicely he uses his brain, let us see in the story. Saturday morning came. All the summer world was bright and fresh and full of life. Tom appeared in front of the house with paint and a big brush. He looked at the fence, and all joy left him. A deep sadness settled upon his heart. The fence was long and high. He wet the brush and moved it along the top board. He did it again and did it again. He looked at that what he had done. The painted part was very, very small. The whole fence was very large. He sat down. He felt that he could not continue. So, Saturday morning, as usual, the world was bright, but Tom was little sad because he was asked to paint the wall, and the sadness settled upon his heart. He was painting and painting, but whenever he looked back on the wall, he found that it was very a little part was only painted. A big, huge wall was remaining to be painted. The painted part was very, very small. The hall fence was very large. He sat down. He felt that he could not continue. So, again and again, since he was more interested to play, he was not able to continue his work. Jim, a boy who worked for the family, came through the gate. He was going to get water and he was singing happily. Tom said, Jim, I will get the water if you will paint. Jim said, no, I must get the water. So Tom thought that if Jim is giving me an opportunity to bring the water, and let Jim paint the wall. So he asked him that, Jim, can you paint? He said, no, I want to bring the water. So again Tom is asking, are you afraid of Aunt Polly? She won't hurt you. So if you are afraid of Aunt Polly, don't worry, she will not hurt you. She talks about it, but talk never hurts. So whatever she speaks, it will not never hurts us. It never hurts except when she weeps also. You should not be afraid of her. Jim, I will give you one of my playthings and I will show you my foot. I will show you where I hurt it. Jim was only human. He took the plaything and he put his head down to look at the foot. In another moment, he was running down the street. So Tom said that I will give you my plaything also. I will give you my toy also. And you see my leg. I have got a sore foot. Please just see and have mercy on me, and please kindly do this favor for me. But Jim was only a human being. As soon as he got his plaything, he ran away. Tom was painting as fast as possible, and Aunt Polly was returning to the house. So Aunt Polly had gone somewhere else and she was coming back, and Tom was still painting the fence. Notice that the writer does not tell us what happened that made Jim run away and Tom start painting as fast as possible. So here the children, this writing of the writing, the lesson is explaining us that when we are writing something, it should not be very short, and it should be always a suspense creating writing. It should be all of a sudden you should not give out what you are supposed to going to tell the audience. The audience should be amused by watching or seeing or reading your novel. So here we don't know that why Jim ran away, for what purpose, and why, and where was Auntie Polly. There nothing is mentioned about from where she is coming, whether she had gone to church, whether she had gone to purchase something, whatever. But nothing is mentioned here. Only thing is that auntie is coming and Jim ran away. The writer tells us that Aunt Polly was returning to the house. This means that Aunt Polly must have been outside with Jim and Tom. What do you imagine what happened when Aunt Polly was outside? Activity 2. Read the story Strong Desire, Wise Action from the adventures of Tom Sawyer. Tom kept working, but soon he began to think of the fun planned for this day. So he was working. It was very boring for him. It was very tedious work for him because he had already planned for this day. He wanted to enjoy whole day, but everything turned aside. He and Huck had planned to race down to the river and go swimming. So he and his friend Huckleberry, if you remember the last part of Tom Sawyer, children, he and his friend Huckleberry, they had gone inside the cave, and here also he and Huck had planned to race down to the river and go swimming. His hands moved more slowly. Soon the other boys would come and laugh at him for the working. So he was moving his hands very slowly, and he was worried about the other boys, those who will come and they will he was worried about the other boys that they will come and they will tease him and they will laugh for his work. From his pocket, he took everything that he owned. So, from his pocket, he tried to remove everything that was in his pocket so that he could give somebody and ask for the help. He looked at it. There was nothing of real value. So, he looked into the pocket that was not costing anything. It was not enough to buy another boy's help. So, even if he tried to give that thing, the other boy will not be ready to do any kind of help. At this dark moment means the saddest part of his life, a wonderful idea came to him. Children, see the title Strong Desire and Wise Action. Here is the moment. During this moment, instead of getting panicking, he is thinking about a wonderful idea. A wonderful idea came to him. It was like a great bright light. He took his brush and went quietly to work. Ben Rogers appeared soon. So Ben Rogers is one of his friend. So he took his brush and quietly went to the work. Tom had been especially afraid of Ben's laugh. So he was very much scared about Ben's laugh because he will be laughing in such a way that Tom is going to get hurt. Ben was eating an apple. Also, as he walked, he was making noises like those of a big river boat. So he was moving as if he was moving in a river boat. He was making noise in such a way. He would shout loudly. Then he would say ding dong dong like a bell. Then he would shout again and say ding dong dong again and make another strange noises. He was the boat, and he was the captain of the boat, and he was the boat bell. So what he was doing, sometimes he was a boat making a noise of boat, and sometimes he was the captain of the boat, and sometimes he was the boat bell. So that is why he was making the noise ding dong dong. Turn her, he shouted. Slow her. Stop. He made a slow, careful turn, came close beside Tom, and stopped. Tom continued his painting. He did not look at the boat. So Tom was so committedly doing the work that he was showing Ben that it was so interesting to paint the wall. It was giving some kind of enjoyment while painting the wall. So he did not notice what was coming. He did not even notice that Ben was coming. In fact, he was knowing that Ben has come, but he wanted to make realize Ben that he was so much enjoying painting the wall that he did not realize that Ben has come near to. You can see the picture, children. Hello, you are in trouble. No answer. Tom moved his brush gently and looked at the result. Ben came nearer. Tom wished for the apple, but he did not turn from his work. So Tom saw that Ben is having one apple in his hand, and he was so interestingly painting the wall that he did not turn at Ben, and he did not see what the Ben wanted to say. Ben said, Hello, you must work, must you? Tom turned suddenly. Oh, Ben, it's you, is it? I did not see you. So Tom reacted in such a way, showing that he was so much interested in painting the wall that he was liking to paint the wall, and he will not give anybody to paint the wall because it was so interesting. I am going swimming. I am. Do you wish you could go with me? So Ben is giving him different kinds of torturing. He wants to torture Tom that he is going to swimming. How Tom will react. He wants to see how Tom is going to react. Tom said, What do you mean work? That is work. Tom returned to his painting. It may be work and it may not be, but it is fine for Tom Sawyer. So if you are saying that it is a very tough work or it is a different, a tedious work, for me it is a work. I am happy. I am enjoying this work. Do you mean that you enjoy it? Enjoy it? Does a boy have a chance to paint a fence every day? So Tom is telling, yes, what do you mean? I enjoy it. Everybody get a chance to paint a fence? No, not at all. Once in a while you get a chance. So I'm not going to give away this chance and I'm going to paint this fence. Here was a new idea. Ben stopped eating his apple. Tom moved his brush, stepped away to look at the result, added a little paint here and there, stepped away again. So, to show Ben that he was very happy with the painting, so he painted a little and then stepped back to see whether it has painted nicely, whether everything has gone well or not. He wanted to see that. Ben watched. He was more and more interested. Then he said, Tom, let me paint a little. So he requested. So now Ben was thinking that it is something very interesting. That is why Tom is not leaving this place. So Ben requested, please, can you give me? I also want to paint the fence. Tom thought. Then he said, no, Ben, Aunt Polly wants this fence to be perfect. So Tom wanted to give this to Ben, but at once if he will give, then Ben will realize that Tom is making him a fool. So he said, no, 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 Auntie said this should be very perfect and I only have to do this work. I only know to do it very perfectly. If it was the fence behind the house, you could help. So he was telling, this is the front part of the house. So I cannot give you because it should be perfect. If it was the back of the house, and then I would have given it, because anything, whatever you do, nobody is going to see. But this is the front wall. This is the front wall of the house. So I have to do it very perfectly and very clearly. But this fence beside the street must be done very carefully. There is not one boy in 1,000 who can do it well. So he is telling, not even a single child can do this fence very perfectly like me. Oh Tom, let me try, only a little. So he is telling Tom, please, he requested, Tom, please, let me try. I will do it very carefully. Tom, I will give you part of my apple. No, Ben, I am afraid. So Ben is ready to give his apple also. And Tom was already thinking in his mind, if I would have got that apple. And now Ben is offering him the apple also. But Tom is still showing some kind of reaction that he is not still ready to give him. I will give you all of it. Tom gave the brush to Ben slowly, but with joy in his heart, because Tom was already thinking. Tom was already thinking. And while the boy who a few moments before had been a riverboat worker became hot in the sun. So Ben, who was a what he was a riverboat, he was a captain, he was a bell of the boat. But soon what he became a worker in the hot sun. Tom sat under the tree eating the apple and planning how to get more help. So he was thinking, once Ben will get annoyed with this work, he wants somebody else also to do this work. There were enough boys. They came along the street, stopped to laugh, but remained to paint. So first they laughed, then they understood that it is something very interesting. So they also started to painting. After Ben, Bill Fisher painted. Then Johnny Miller came. Each one paid to be allowed to work, children. Remember, the first paragraph said that when Tom looked into his pocket, there was nothing which was valuable so that he can offer to the boys and take the help. But now it is becoming totally opposite. The boys are paying to Tom so that they can paint the fence. In the middle of the afternoon, Tom was very rich, so each and everyone was giving some or the other thing so that they can paint the fence. He had many playthings, a small cat with one eye, a piece of broken blue glass, and much more. He had not worked, and the whole fence had been painted 3 times. Can you imagine, children? Before, when he started, it was so huge that he was thinking that whole day he has to remain back to paint it. But now, since all have come together, the fence was painted thrice. 3 times it was painted. There was no more paint. With more pain, Tom would have soon have owned everything belonging to other boys. So, if there would be more pain, Tom was thinking that I would have got more playthings and I would become very rich. And the other boys in the village would have owned nothing. Tom had discovered a great law of human action. A man or a boy will desire something if it is not easy to get. So, from these children, it is understood that if it is a human action, that if you give something, if somebody is desiring, and if you don't give it easily, they are ready to do it for any cause. Children, these answers I have given already. In the last activity, you were pretending to be a character in the story, so you invented a story of your own. Your paragraph was about your experience of painting. It was not about strong desire, wise action by Mark Twain. Now, moving on towards a source is writing that you are writing about. What is a source, children? When you are writing about something about your writing. When we write about a story, poem, newspaper, article, or any kind of writing, we call the writing, we are writing about a source. We are writing about a source. In this book, we will learn the proper way to write about other people's writing. In other words, we will learn to write about the sources. So, when we are taking somebody else's story, children, we should know how to write it. For example, if you are a teacher or an exam asks you to write about strong desire, wise action by Mark Twain, Mark Twain's story should be your source. Your writing would be about Mark Twain's story. We will write about strong desire, wise action in the next unit. The following sentences are from the story After 20 Years by O. Henry. For this example, After 20 Years by O. Henry is the source. Here is the box given in your textbook, children. You can see, tick the sentence which is about the source. What is the sentence about? For sentence not about the source, what are they about? See the first one, children. First blank I have put a dash, and the second, what is the sentence about? One night when I was patrolling the street, I saw a man waiting in the shadow. Here we are talking about the policeman, children. In the second sentence, you can see we have put a tick. It is a source. How it is a source? Read the sentence. People should be loyal to their friends even if their loyalty might get them in trouble. This is the story from 20 years, children. So here you can see we have taken the source from the story after 20 years. Here we are not talking about anything, but we are talking about the source. Second one. Third one, you can see duty is always more important than friendship, children. Here we are not talking about anything, but we have taken the source from the story. In the story, after 20 years, a policeman does his duty but betrays his friend. So here there is no source, but we are talking about a reader's view, what we have understood while we are reading the story. So I hope you understood the difference between the source and what is about the person. Children, this is activity. You can do it as a homework. Activity 7. Understand a summary, children. We have learned in the previous a source. Let us understand what is a summary. A summary is a short piece of writing that tells the main ideas of the author of a source. One kind of a summary is a neutral summary. A neutral summary tells the ideas of the sources, author, without including any of the ideas or feelings of the person writing the summary. So, when we are writing about the author's source, suppose after 20 years, if we are writing something about the 20 years, it should not be our idea, it should be evocated in that, it should be the author's idea in our wordings, in our writings. For example, if you write a neutral summary about O. Henry's story after 20 years, you should include O. Henry's main idea, not yours. So it is understood, children. So when you are writing about after 20 years, you have already read, you have understood after 20 years. But when we are doing it, when we are writing the neutral summary, it should be O. Henry's main idea, not our main idea. One way to check your writing is to think, if O. Henry read my summary, would he agree with the way I expressed his main idea? Neutral summary is one common way of writing about sources. When you write a good neutral summary, you are describing someone else's idea, so you need to be careful and understand the ideas of the author before you write. So when you are writing it, you should be very clear what is the main thing the author wants to tell, that you should be very clear about it. When you write about a source, ask yourself, would the author agree with me? Here are the sentences from three different summaries of After 20 Years by O. Henry. Which sentence is probably from a neutral summary? Which one do you think that O. Henry would agree expresses his main idea? So here is the first one, children. After 20 Years is a great story, and it teaches a very important lesson that I agree with. One should never put friendship above duty. I think that one must do what is the right even when it is unpleasant. The policeman in the story sees a suspicious stranger on the street and stops to talk to him. The reader can tell the stranger is not a good man when the stranger describes. Now, when you read, children, the other two, that is number 2 and number 3, you will see that that is not at all a main idea. That is not at all a main idea. Choose one of the paragraphs about O. Henry's story that is not neutral. Underline the words and phrases that seem to show the writer's thoughts and feelings. So, I understand, children, the first part, that is the first point, that is the neutral summary, that is giving the main ideas. The other two are not giving the main ideas. Now, children, look back at the story Strong Desire, Wise Action. List all the characters that are named in the story. You are going to use one of the characters to write a poem called a Sincane. Remember, children, the pronunciation is Sincane. Sincanes are a kind of poem that has 5 lines and a certain pattern. Here is one type of Sincane pattern. You can see the first line should be title and it should be of one word. The second line should be of description of 2 words. Third line would be the action, that is 3 words. 4 lines feeling, that should be, it should be a phrase, and that also over the 4 words. And 5 lines, that is the title. It can be synonym or antonym for the title, so it can be a meaning or it can be an opposite for the title, and that should be also 1 word. So remember the Sincane, this is the pattern of Sincane. It will be having 5 lines. The first line will be title, the second line description, the third line action, fourth line feeling, and the fifth line title. Here is an example, Sincane about our author Mark Twain. So if we are talking about, if we want to write a Sincane about Mark Twain, so what will be the first? The title, Mark, 1 word. Description, what you want to say about Mark? He is a talented writer, so talented writer, 2 words. Action, what he did, what Mark did, he penned Tom Sawyer. You can see 3 words. Feelings, how did you feel when you read Tom Sawyer? So you enjoyed humor and mischief. You can see 4 words. Line 5, again the title. So what you will write, you can write either the opposite or you can write the meaning. So here we will write Mark Twain. So Twain is the opposite of the, or you can say it cannot be a synonym, but you can write as a Twain. So write a Sin Cane about Tom Sawyer or any one of the other characters that were named in the story. So here is another example, you can do it for yourself. Since the summary is about a source, the summary needs to tell which source you are writing about. So if you are writing about a summary, summary is also a source. So you have to write that about which source you are writing about. We call this referencing the source. You can identify the source with the title, author's name, date of publication, place of publication, etc. Referencing identities, the sources. You don't need to put all the information, you only need to put enough information for your reader. For example, you can see on the left hand side the play Romeo and Juliet, written by William Shakespeare and first performed around 1595, tells the story of. In the first example, you can see we are talking about the title Romeo and Juliet, and then second is we are talking about the author, and the third is we are talking about the year. Example 2, the 2013 Hindu Times article, New Bill puts people first, essentially said that India would treat the problem. There are many ways to reference a source when you write a summary. Look at these examples that use date, title, and author in different ways. You can see the first example, the 1922 After 20 Years by O. Henry shows. Now 1922 is showing the date, after 20 years is the title, and O. Henry is the author. The second one is the story after 20 years written by O. Henry tells. So here we take the title first and then we take the author's name. So look carefully at the sentences above and notice the patterns for giving information about the source. For example, so here we already understood, children, how you can write the source. Summary starts with the main ideas of the source. Many people think that they can write about a source if they just start at the first paragraph of a source. Write something, then go to the next paragraph, and write something, then go on. But this is not a good way to write about the author's idea. So children, when you are writing a summary, always remember that you have to write the main idea. Don't put your own ideas or don't put your own thought, because you are writing a source, you are writing the main idea of the writer or the author. So many people, what they do is that they first write the paragraph and then they write the another paragraph and then they keep on moving. This is not a good way. The main idea of the author might be in the middle or the end of a story. So whenever you are writing a source, whenever you are writing a summary, remember it should not begin. It should not be in the first paragraph, otherwise you will spoil the suspense of the story. It should be either in the middle or it should be end of the story. Imagine, here he is giving the example. Imagine that you are Sunil and you are worried about your friend Ankita. You have an idea for helping her and you want to tell Samir about it. So now how you will say, you see, Sunil, he is talking, Samir, I have been worried about Ankita, but I think I have an idea of how to help. Samir, what is her problem? Sunil, well, at first I thought she might be sick, but now I know she is not, because Samir, then he is calling on Ankita on his mobile. Ankita Ben, Sunil said you are sick. So Samir, at first, before listening to anything, before the Sunil could say, Samir started calling Ankita and he's asking that Sunil said you are sick. Samir summarized your ideas too soon. So before Ankita, he wanted to help Ankita. Sunil had an idea to help Ankita, but before he could do anything, Samir already called up Ankita and the story was finished. Story is finished almost. He told your friend Ankita about your idea before he understood it all. Writing a summary of source is telling someone else about the author's idea. Since a summary should start with the main idea of the author, it's important to read and understand everything first.